Peace, motherfuckers! Look at these three piglets getting bursted in their shitty house. Hashtag the wolves. This is a video about tanking, because the amount of times I go into a DSA run at the moment, we're doing regular runs for people, sometimes to the point we're doing like 2-3 a week. We always seem to find like multiple DPSs, even healers, but no tanks. And the people that I know that have tanks, they always come at me with, oh, my tank isn't wearing the right gear, and well, he's not this and that, and blah, blah. And when you put them up to the test, they're not talking shit. They're telling the truth, and it hurts, because like tanking's fun as fuck. I think, like, I like to DPS when I do the dungeons with people, because I like to know that I'm going to get the DPS out of it, and we're going to be able to do this thing quickly. But we have no tanks, and like, people need to start making more, real talk, because you can make good money. Last night, if I'd had someone to tank for me, they could have made 400k in an hour, and because of it, I had to swap onto my tank, and it took longer, and like, we could have got maybe one more person in last night, we would have made 600k. So, like, more tanks need. So I'm going to show you a couple of basic things for tanking, just to make life easy. You're going to sit there and talk shit on it because it's not meta, or partly meta, but the other part isn't meta. So say what you want, I really don't care. All I know is I've tanked for a long time, like way over 2 years on DKs. Warden I haven't done so much, but DKs mainly. And if you follow these basic, simple premises, you will have no problem doing group content, trials content, whatever it is. You just got to rotate little things and know your character. So, enough talking shit, let's get into it. So, I'm going to give you guys a quick show of how I manage my resources and how I do the last boss of DSA, because like a majority of it, you don't have to be like an A-spec, A-grade tank or anything like that to be able to do that. But you can do the whole of the dungeon pretty much no problem. It's just this bit here that some tanks struggle with, because of the fact that you have to hold a lot of aggro, and it makes it a lot easier for the group if you can actually hold the aggro. So you want to have one of the DPS, ideally you want to do 3 DPS in 1 tank. You don't need a healer for this. Like, you honestly, don't take it offensively, you just don't need a healer for this. You miss out on DPS, there's not that many stressful things, like the tank can cover you with Igneuses and other things like Warhorns or whatever it is, like, you're using. So, 3 DPS, 1 tank. Tank's gonna hold the boss over here until the first fire circle goes. I like to hold it around here so that it's not too far from them. We can get that little bit of extra DPS, so there's no point in going up to the stairs. What I was saying a second ago, one of your DPS is going to want to have aggro. So, in a fire is the aggro move you use, in case you're not aware of that. At 78%, if the DPS is flowing nicely, you can have the aggro swap over, whilst the tank can get ready then to pull the other 2 bosses. Now, I'm holding it kind of at the back, away from everything. This is like a good position to be, so when the ads come in, you don't get hit by the fire that comes sort of roasting in from the side. Because I see a lot of DPSs that are not squishy. A DPS has to be squishy, really, but they get hit with the fire that comes in, and it instantly kills them. So, right now we're going to be swapping aggro. I've dropped the aggro off a minute ago, getting ready to take it. So I take this man here, take this man here, and get out of here. Don't want to hang around, just stab them both. Aggro works, you don't need to double check it, just make sure you've got that aggro on them and run away. Keep running, you've got 15 seconds whilst they're definitely going to follow you. You get enough distance from the group and they're not going to run back to the group. As long as you keep that aggro up, drag them as far as you can back to all the way back. Now start working on your resources again. It's not hard as an Argonian, simple. You time your heavy attacks with an Igneous and pot, bam, instantly back to full. So around this point, the DPS should be hitting the 50% mark. So you should be starting to get ready to come back. Their health bars have all dropped, so I'm safe to come back in. Ignore some of these stuns. I always have my corrosive ready, because when I hit corrosive, I not only get all my ults back, but I've got about 8 seconds to do what I want to do without having to worry about heals. I don't have to worry about nothing. So I just go in there, I grab all the aggro, and get the fuck back out of there again. Aggro works again, like I said, for a certain amount of time, so just don't worry about it, don't double check it, don't doubt it, just get out of there, and once you've got all of it and you're heading back, start working on your resources again. Now for the most part of DSA, I use a completely different build to what I'm using right now, but when I'm doing this part here, this is so comfortable for self-sustain and solo. If you miss moves, if you get hit by something you're not prepared for, you will stay so alive in this. I mean, a few people are probably noticing what I'm wearing at this point just from that bluish glow. but we'll get into that in a sec. I just wanted you to see that you don't have to have the best in slot meta gear gold jewelry to be a good tank effectively. Just gonna let this play for a second. It's almost over. There we go. Now I'm going to give you another example of this. Immediately, like I was saying in the beginning of this video, straight after finishing that run, I had to then go in for another group and tank for them, because lo and behold, there's no tanks ever anywhere. But watch what happens here. You see that shit? I threw out a heavy attack. I didn't expect him to block, and he sends me to I don't know where. Now, because of the stats I'm wearing, that couple of seconds where I can hit a pot and it's safeguarding me from the damage, it gave me that. I mean, you can call it luck, but I would never have pulled that off in any of the other sets I run. Doesn't matter how much health and resistance you have, if you're continuously taking a solid, consistent, same damage beatdown, you're gonna get killed eventually. Especially when you're getting thrown through the fucking wall and end up in a different entire dungeon to where you initially are. But this setup, again, the recovery is insane. The self-sustain is insane. You're tanky, you have huge ult regen, self-sustain, like as in your stand and magic recovery is off the wall. Being an Argonian obviously helps. You just time certain things, like little things like time a heavy attack with an igneous shield and a pot, and you can instantly recover. Time a heavy attack into your ult, because your DK passive you get battle roar. So little things like that are going to take you from nothing to full, and you can recover again. Little things like corrosive armor, magma shell in PvE is the nicest safeguard. You can see my ult. I've got shield ult on right now and corrosive. Shield ult is easy for me to keep blowing to keep getting back my sustain. So here it goes. Bam, hit that. Got my stand back and magic. If I have to keep tanking, I can keep going. Cheap ult. Don't need to have something on to support someone else. I'm doing my own thing over here. Again, with corrosive armor you saw in the first clip, I can just run in, grab everything safely and walk away. For these boss fights in the last fight of this dungeon, my setup was Tava's Favor, Reactive, and Bloodspawn. Selfish Bloodspawn for the ult regen, Tava's Favor for the ult regen, and Reactive for the guaranteed you're not going to kill me when I get stunned if I have no stamina. The second setup I'll be wearing for the most part of the dungeon, where I'm tanking all of the other stuff. This is not because it's my favourite to wear. I actually don't feel comfortable wearing it just because it's just not. It's not the best come back from the dead abilities wearing this, I feel, anyway, for tanking. It's nice having the extra stam, but I tanked for 2 years with all my points in stam anyway, so I could keep going into PvP and having fun. But for these kind of situations, you do want to run what I run anyway: Plague Doctor, Alkosh, and Lord Warden. Lord Warden for the AoE, for your friends to get into. They can get their resistances up. It will save people, like squishy DPSs. The squishier the better, they get more DPS. So having something like that is essential to keeping a DPS alive in bad situations. AoEs, if they get hit by an ad that you just haven't unfortunately got right now, something like that, whatever. Plague Doctor gives you a nice beefy health pool. I keep all mine reinforced. That's why I lose my stam so quickly. I should swap all of it into sturdy. I really can't be bothered to research stuff on the second account and trait change it. So at the moment, reinforced actually works pretty well for me. I used to go all sturdy on everything for tanking, but with reinforced, I can be stunned with no stamina or whatever, and I still have like capped resistances even with without the Lord Warden proc. Lord Warden isn't even helpful for me. It's literally just for the group. And then the third set is going to be Alkosh. Alkosh is kind of annoying in the fact that most people think you have to have a sword and board, 2 sword and boards, and the jewellery. That is one setup. But personally, for the little bit of extra stam recovery, because I'm a tank and like any stam recovery helps, I go for a reinforced belt and a reinforced pair of hands of Alkosh with the jewellery. Got gold jewellery, but you don't need gold jewellery. You can go for blue. It really doesn't matter. You just need the 5th piece bonus to help the group. But the what was I about to say? Sorry, my dog's snoring threw me off. The Alkosh sword and board isn't essential. You can run a Plague Doctor sword and board to keep the health up on both bots. So you'd have Plague Doctor on the body, 3-piece, Plague Doctor sword and board, easy to find, easy to farm. And then you'd have the Alkosh jewellery with the Alkosh 2 pieces on the body. Hands and belt, nobody usually wants to get any of the Alkosh body pieces. They much prefer to get the typical meta slot pieces. So getting hold of them in a trial, simple. It's just the jewellery, and doing it on normal is easy to get hold of blue jewellery. You can just keep rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So And it's one of the problems that people have in this game. Inches or miles, and people can't be bothered to go into PvE and farm out the gear that they need to make things right. This is why the problem of tanks are so big at the moment. There's not a lot of good tanks, and if there is, the good tanks just don't want to do stuff like this because they come on for a few hours and that's all they do. They're usually 50, 60-year-old men. They've got about 4 families on the go, 3 failed marriages. They don't really want to tank DSA for gold. I need people that are actually wanting to get gold to come in and farm this with me and make more tanks. So I have DPSs falling out the fucking arsehole. I don't need any more DPSs. What I need is a few people on solid builds for their tanks. So if you have a tank and you want to start getting regular continuous gold, hit me up. We'll do a few basic like DPS dummy test things basically, but for tanks. Like I'll just throw you into a pool of ads and see how you manage, and yeah, you can start getting a shitload of gold. So I hope this was helpful to a few people. I only made this just because I have had people randomly over the years just say, oh, that video helped me out with DSA, so I appreciate it. I hope this helps. And peace, motherfuckers!
I just self-built for like 30k.